You think you know English, but for some reason, you just can't speak it. I used to be exactly like you. I understood English quite well. I could follow YouTube videos, I could read articles, I could understand podcasts. People would even say, "Your English is good." But whenever it was time to actually speak, something strange happened. My mind would go blank, my heart would start beating faster. I would suddenly feel like I knew nothing. And I remember how much effort I put into learning English better. I watched so many videos about learning methods. Learn English fast, the best technique to become fluent, speak English in 30 days, or maybe how polyglots learn languages. I was constantly searching for the next strategy, the next system, the next shortcut. I truly believed that one day I would find the perfect method and everything would finally click. But slowly over time, I realized something that was both frustrating and freeing. There is no magic method. The problem was never that I was lazy. The problem was never that I wasn't smart enough. The problem was never that I started too late. The real problem was this: I was training the wrong skill. Because understanding English and speaking English are not the same thing. They use different parts of your brain. You can be excellent at understanding and still terrible at speaking, simply because you never trained the speaking muscles. Think about how most of us learned English. Years of grammar rules, vocabulary lists, exercises, tests, reading, maybe listening, all of this trains you to recognize English. It trains you to understand English. It means you choose the correct answer. But speaking is not about choosing. Speaking is about creating. And creation is uncomfortable. When you speak, you expose yourself. Your mistakes become visible. Your accent becomes audible. Your insecurity becomes real. So what do most learners do? They avoid it. Instead of speaking, they study more. Instead of practicing simple sentences, they try to learn more advanced structures. It feels productive, but it keeps you stuck. One of the biggest mistakes I see all the time is this: people try to speak advanced English before they can comfortably speak simple English. They feel like simple English is embarrassing. They feel like if they don't use complex sentences, they sound unintelligent. So they try to say things like, in my opinion, the underlying issue regarding this particular matter is, and they get stuck halfway through, when they could simply say, I think this is the main problem. Fluent speakers don't speak complex English all the time. They speak clear English, simple English, natural English. If you listen to real conversations between native speakers, you will notice something interesting. Most of what they say is not advanced. It's basic structures used very quickly and very comfortably. That's the key. Fluency is not about difficulty. Fluency is about speed and ease. Another big issue is the way many learners try to speak word by word. They think in their own language first, then they try to translate every word. Then they try to build a sentence using grammar rules. By the time the sentence is ready, the moment is gone. This is exhausting, and this is exactly why speaking feels so hard. Fluent speakers don't translate word by word. They use chunks. They use ready-made phrases. Not give plus me plus a plus look, but take a look. Or maybe not do plus a plus decision, but make a decision. Not I am plus agree plus with plus you, but I agree with you. These are not individual words anymore. They become single units in the brain. And when you build your English like this, speaking becomes faster and more natural. But most learners are never trained this way. They are trained to analyze language instead of feeling language. Another uncomfortable truth: many people are actually afraid of speaking, not because they hate English, but because they hate how they feel when they speak. They're afraid of sounding stupid, they're afraid of making mistakes, they're afraid of being judged, they're afraid of their accent maybe. So instead of practicing speaking, they stay in their comfort zone. They keep watching videos, they keep reading, they keep preparing. But you don't become fluent by preparing, you become fluent by doing. You don't learn to swim by watching swimming videos, right? You learn by getting into the water. You swallow some water, you move awkwardly, you feel uncomfortable. But slowly your body adapts. Speaking English is exactly the same. Your first sentences will be slow. You will hesitate, of course. you will make mistakes, you will repeat yourself. That's not a problem, that's training. The real problem is staying silent. Silence feels safe, but it keeps you exactly where you are. One sentence spoken badly is more powerful than 100 sentences studied silently. And this is something nobody told me for a long time. You don't need better English. You need more courage with the English you already have. You probably already know enough words to express your basic thoughts. You probably already know enough grammar to form simple sentences, and you don't trust yourself enough to use them. So you wait. I'll speak when I am more advanced. I'll speak when I feel more confident. I will practice when I know more vocabulary. But confidence doesn't come before speaking. Confidence comes from speaking. You become confident because you survive the awkward moments. You become confident because you realize that people still understand you. You become confident because you see that mistakes don't destroy communication. That's when something changes inside you. You stop trying to perform, you stop trying to impress, you stop trying to be perfect. You start trying to be real. You start using simple sentences that actually represent your thoughts. You start saying things like, I don't know how to say this. Can you repeat that? Or maybe, let me think. I'm trying to explain something. And these small, honest sentences build real fluency. Because real fluency is not about sounding like a textbook. It's about functioning in real life. At some point, I stopped asking myself, how can I learn more English? And I started asking, how can I use the English I already know more often? That shift changed everything. Instead of searching for new methods, I focused on speaking more. Instead of collecting vocabulary, I focused on using basic words better. Instead of trying to sound advanced, I focused on sounding clear. And slowly, very slowly at first, my English started to feel different. It felt lighter, it felt more automatic, it felt less stressful. Not because I became a grammar expert, but because I stopped treating English like an exam and started treating it like a tool. And that's the real message I want you to hear today. You don't need to wait until your English is perfect. You don't need to finish all grammar topics. You don't need to know 10,000 words. You need to start using what you already have. Even if it's messy, even if it's slow, even if it's simple. Because fluency grows from use, not from knowledge. And if right now you feel stuck, if you feel frustrated, if you feel like you've been studying for years but still can't speak, please understand this. You're not hopeless, you're not untalented, you are not bad at languages. You were just trained to understand English, not to use it. But the good news, that can change. Starting today with one simple decision: to stop hiding behind studying and start allowing yourself to speak. Not perfectly, not impressively, just honestly. That's where fluency actually begins.